Welcome back to the Unwind podcast, season 2.
Episode 2. As you all know, we are focusing on mental health this season, and so we have a special guest for you guys today. Miss Arouba Kabir has a bachelor's in journalism and psychology from Bangalore University and a master's in psychology from Delhi University. She is a trained therapist and counselor who has a popular Instagram handle of @mentalhealthcarist. She's also the founder of Enzo Wellness. Please welcome Miss Arouba Kabir. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Miss Kabir, considering you have a master's in psychology and are a trained psychologist, what do you feel with your experience are the most common misconceptions about therapy and mental disorders, such as anxiety, depression, OCD, etc.?
So I guess the first of all, we all have to understand that there's a difference between a condition, a challenge, and a disorder. A disorder is a clinical disorder that you get diagnosed from a psychiatrist. But living in this world, which is very fast, everything is so fast, but we were not trained for this. So we ought to have this anxiety, mood swings, emotional up and down, boundary setting problems, and all these things are very genuine, very normal. So I cannot put all these things in mental health disorder. These are just challenges we are facing on everyday basis. A disorder is a disease like a thyroid, diabetes, blood pressure. We have depression, we have OCD, we have a borderline personality disorder. So those are illnesses where we might have to take medication help, therapy help, lifestyle modifications. But the emotional health challenges which we are facing in youth, in older people, that is because on day-to-day basis, you are not prepared for what you have to say. For example, when I was younger, nobody taught me how you should behave as a partner, how you should run your house, how you should talk to people. But when I was older, I was expected to do that. And my mind was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? So marriages fail, relationships fail, people, all these things happen because they're not trained. Boys are not taught how to buy grocery, how to pay rent, how to pay electricity bill. And when they have to be on their own, they have to do all of this and they find it so difficult. So these are emotional health challenges we face. And then there are, we can call them mental health challenges also, but these are challenges. It's a condition, not a disorder. And disorder is a clinical disorder that I have been diagnosed with schizophrenia or maybe borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder. So one needs to understand the difference between two because everybody says, I am depressed. Depression is a very big clinical term.
Absolutely.
So you might be upset, you might be sad, you are not depressed. Yeah.
I think that's a very good misconception and stigma that at the very first question we've eradicated, because as teenagers like us, we use anxiety, depression, OCD, bipolar disorder as very commonly used phrases. So sometimes we're not able to distinguish what is actually a medical concern to what we can deal with emotionally. I think that's a very wonderful way that we can decipher the two. And I think that's a good message to the youth that's listening to this, that, these things at times can be medically diagnosed, but also they have weightage to it. You don't use it so commonly. It's not all emotionally oriented. And I think that's a wonderful way. Thank you so much.
Yeah. The second question we wanted to ask you, so since it's June and it's Pride Month, we saw on your page that you wanted to spread awareness about mental health related challenges that teenagers in the LGBTQIP+ community face as a result of prejudice and isolation and all the stigma that surrounds their community in general. So could you explain any trends you've seen or how we can help our friends in the community, given that, certain mental challenges increase given their, identity and everything because of the society around them?
First of all, we have to understand about LGBTQ people. It is not only about how we make them feel. It is already how they are feeling about themselves. As I said, now as a girl, I am not trained how to handle relationships. Or as a boy, I am not trained how to take care of the finances later. But I am expected to do that. The same way, they are not taught how to accept their sexuality, which is already a stigma in the society. So before I say that I make them feel something or they're uncomfortable with me, I need to accept it that they're already uncomfortable with themselves. So why to make them more uncomfortable about it? We don't know until and unless we don't feel something. We don't know how it feels. So I guess if we are not living in their place already, being a girl, it's so difficult to get accepted by each and every person how we want us to get ourselves accepted. Just imagine for them what a battle it would be. So I want to tell people that if we can do that is one thing, be kind to them. If somebody is coming to you, talking to you and telling you that, I have so many clients who come to me sometimes and they say, I'm confused about my sexuality. I don't tell them, oh my God, are you bi? Are you gay? Are you lesbian? What are you? No, I tell them, okay, let's explore it more. And then sometimes they say, no, I guess I'm comfortable. I was just confused. Because it was never explained it to us how you should feel as a man or a woman or a trans person or a gay person. Never. We haven't talked about it. Right? So it is already confusing to them. So let's not confuse them more. Listen to them. If you can do something that is a simple thing, listen to them. And don't try to out them if they don't want you to. Recently, a kid client came to me and she's so distraught and so disappointed because her best friend outed her. So she confided in her friend that this is something I might be. I'm still exploring, and she's just 16. And this best friend goes and she told all other friends, and she told her, I was making it easier for you. How? She will out herself when she's ready. So don't out them without their permission. If they are confiding in you, take pride in that somebody came to you and told you that secret. It is safe with you. Keep it safe with you. If you are not ready to listen, tell them, listen, I don't want to talk about this. I don't think so I can be with you on this. It is easier than, kind of ditching them. So that could be something. Now, people who are going through that struggle, who are finding themselves sexually confused, who don't know what to choose and what orientation they are in, all I want to tell you is patience. Patience is the key. Maybe just be there with yourself, understand yourself. Now, first and foremost, I want each and every LGBTQ person is grow physical strength. Being a woman, I know this, how difficult the world is for me. I have a clear that I'm a female, I'm a straight female, I don't have any orientations. The world is going to accept me. In fact, in some cultures, I'm going to be worshipped too. So people will respect, but still, I find myself physically weak at good many places. I feel threatened. So now, the world is hard. It is not going to change in one day. So first of all, get your physical strength, that if you have to defend yourself, if you have to push back somebody, you need to have that physical strength. People attack you more because you don't work on yourself. They find you weaker. So the most important thing, I want them to work on their physical strength. Then, mental strength takes a lot of time. It is like, leaving all those conditions which you have been given since your childhood and from the family, society and everybody. But physically, you can get stronger in lesser time. So get stronger. Let people stay away. Let people know that, okay, fine, if you give one slap, it is going to be hard. So let us not mess with them. So it is very important, grow physical strength. Second, work on your confidence. Self-esteem is something which will take you to a longer road. You will need that much more than I needed. You will need that much more than a man. So you need to have that grow. Just recognize which are the areas I need to work in. Oh my God, my vocabulary is not good. Okay, let me work on that. My communication skill is not assertive. Okay, let me do that. I am not a good expressive person. Let me know that. I don't know how to set boundaries. Work on that, because when you have that confidence, it is going to be easier for you. So I guess I always tell people that, begin with these two things, physical strength and your self-esteem. Rest things will fall into place. When you face something, then you can take decision how to face it. But if you have these basic two things get easier for you.
That was very well put. Thank you so much. I feel like when you mentioned the taboos that are ingrained in your mindset when you're growing up, that's not only in one culture around the world, that's just across the world. I feel like that's a common thing. You're kind of told like some cultures, it's like, oh, it's like they think it's bad, it's bad to be, gay or lesbian or whatever. No, and then that's when the struggle internally just begins, because you start wondering, if I am, would the people around me even accept me, or what would happen? That's why when I heard about one of your clients whose friend outed them, I felt really bad, because when someone confides in you and trusts you with such a big part of their identity that's very personal to them, it's not right. It's not your place at all to even mention it. You're not making it easier
Absolutely.
for them.
I totally agree with you, but that is what we do even in best friends. You tell me something as a best friend, and I go and I tell you to some other friend that you know what, she's going through this. Maybe not as a gossip, maybe I'm trying to help you, but I want to tell people that this is not your place. The person told you for a reason and did not tell it to others. So why are you trying to assume or do things for others? So please respect that somebody chose you, that person, as that, confidant. So be in that rather than trying to help them, which might be a disaster. I last year during this time only, it was Pride Month, and I was doing a series on mental health. It was Stand Up to Stigma. I was inviting a lot of celebrities and lot of known people. So I had a gay couple, and in fact, I gave them a name, Proud Gay Couple, and amazingly, we did this episode with them, and it went viral. People loved it. And then after a month, I got a call from them. Can you please take it off? I was like, is everything all right? Oh, one of the guy's family members, some distant relatives, they got to know, and they live in a very rural area of India, and it became a very big thing, kind of dange shuru ho gaye and all that. So it was very difficult for the family to survive. So we had to look for each and every clip anywhere on internet and take it off. So, okay, he lived in a city. He never thought that the consequences would be so bigger. But it became difficult for his relatives. So that's what I'm telling you. He learned it. And it was from a person who, in fact, gave me the rights to put it out there. But still, it became so difficult. Now imagine if somebody is telling you in confidence, how can it change their life? So let them do it. Because when you do it, you take the responsibility. You're like, I did it. I will fix it. But when somebody else does it, you are not ready for it. Then it's like, okay, what do I do now? So I guess, let people come out on their own. It is not your duty. All you can do is be there, support them.
Yeah, I think another thing that was picked up when you were speaking was that that you had a client that came to you and he said, I'm not sure my identity, and then you described to him the differences and how you can identify yourself through your physical strength, through building yourself emotionally. And then I think he went back saying, okay, I'm okay now. So I think another good point here is because there is stigmas, because there's misconceptions about what this community looks like. People fear that if they have issues like that, they want to get it sorted. And coming out is such a big stigma that, they want to be clear. So even people who are completely straight, they fear certain feelings, right? Because it's so stigmatized. And I think that says so much about the community. That you fear your own feelings at the same time, which is such a big message that it shouldn't be like that. And I think that's a wonderful message. Yeah. Moving a little forward, a little bit about you, Ms. Kabir. So we've seen that you're an advocate for chronic and invisible illnesses, especially cystic fibrosis. If it's all right with you, would you provide some insights as to why you're so passionate about it and why it is at this present stage such a pressing matter and issue in our community, and why you find it relevant to particularly talk about that certain place? I think that's a very interesting topic.
Yes, it is. I find it very close to my heart, advocating for chronic illness, especially CF, cystic fibrosis. It's a very rare genetic progressive condition. Like, it does not have any treatment. You can only be put on prevention. So, and we have a very handful of people in India. I guess all around the world, there are not more than 70,000 people. So in India, we hardly have any, I am the oldest cystic fibrosis healthy patient. We have other people living with this illness here. They are bedridden, on oxygen. People are dying. Now, lack of awareness sometimes makes it difficult to diagnose. I was diagnosed at the age of 21. Until the age of 21, I was diagnosed for asthma, bronchitis, pneumonia, tuberculosis, everything related to respiratory condition. But they couldn't figure out that, I wasn't growing well. I didn't have strength. I was breathless. I was coughing all the time. I couldn't digest food well. So they couldn't relate it that it could be more than tuberculosis, asthma, and bronchitis. So that is what I was treated for. It was only at the 21, I got diagnosed. And that too, I was diagnosed because the doctor had come back from UK. He had served in UK for a long time. So he had seen CF cases there. So it is very unfortunate that how till today, chronic illnesses, genetic illnesses are not covered in insurances in India. We don't have insurance. We don't have medication. We don't have insurance. We don't have treatment. So if you have to, for example, I can afford it. I go to a private hospital. Every time when you get admitted and you have to take antibiotics, which are intravenous, like IV injections you have to take, oral medication does not help us. You have to be in the hospital for 21 days, and 21 days the bill comes around 7-8 lakh rupees. Not everybody can afford that. The medication we have to be on every day, there's one medication which we have to inhale. It is one Rispul for 1200 rupees. Not everybody can afford it. So now there's no insurance, there's no awareness, there's no treatment. But in outside countries, still the treatment is not there. But there, at least hospitals are giving help. Awareness is there. Diagnosis is on time. Management is there. Prevention is there. But we don't have all that. So I guess that's why it makes it very close to my heart that I want to talk about it. More tell people that why am I the only one person in India right now who is healthier? Even after having cystic fibrosis, why aren't there more? Why do they die early? Why these kids die? That is because lack of awareness. I remember once I was flying, and we do have this tendency of like sometimes coughing blood. That's why I was misdiagnosed for tuberculosis. So it just happened all of a sudden. So all we have to do is go to a hospital, get a vitamin K shot, and it stops the bleeding. It is a regular thing for us. It happens every 6 months, every 1 year, 2 years. It can happen. And I was flying, so I took the break in between. I requested the authorities that please let me go on. So like in the middle, I have a medical emergency. And I went to the doctor and I told that I was a very junior doctor, and I told the doctor that I need a vitamin K shot. And he's like, and why? I said, because I have cystic fibrosis, I need it. And the man looked at me, oh, you have a cyst in your ovary. I was like, no, I have cystic fibrosis. It has got nothing to do with my ovary, it's my lungs. It's a respiratory condition. And then he was, yeah, I know. And then he changed the topic. So you know how this awareness is not there, because then I spoke to my friends and they said, yeah, cystic fibrosis is mentioned in our syllabus, but there hardly is like 2-3 pages or something like that. Now, okay. So that's why it makes it important for us to create more awareness so that our doctors know it very well. Right now, the condition is about respiratory system. The COVID is all about respiratory system. Now, I'm not saying that, it is something I ever wished people should see, but I have been wearing masks in public spaces for last 10 years, last 12 years since I got diagnosed. I'm 33 now. And so from my 21 years of age, I have been wearing masks. I have not been going in public places, crowded places. I might get infected from flu, anybody having cold, I have to stay away. So that is what is happening right now to people. Right? So people should know what is cystic fibrosis. People should know that there's a tendency that 1 in 1 lakh kids can have cystic fibrosis, and we need to diagnose it. So that is the reason. And plus, I always think other thing is that any kind of chronic illness, forget about genetic. I'm not talking about cystic fibrosis or other things. I'm just talking about simple diabetes, cancer, blood pressure, thyroid. Anybody who is living on a regular medication, they ought to have mental health issues, because it is like, I am not healthy, I am not stable, I am not a reliable person, I am dependent on others. What if I fall sick? It's a lot of uncertainty in life. So mental health challenges are very normal. I started my therapy when I was like 21. I still go to my therapist because it doesn't matter. I'm a therapist, I work with people, I know everything, but I live with something. So that something sometimes makes me, oh my God, I'm tired. I don't want to take my treatment today. I don't want to exercise today. I don't want to cough today. I'm tired of it. But I know that tomorrow it is going to. So keep me motivated. My therapist does that for me. Today I had a session with my therapist, and that's what he said. He said that, your health is going great, but I want you to do this as well. Which otherwise I also know. But when it comes from my therapist, it becomes, yeah, okay, let me do it. So I guess we all should seek mental health help. at one or the other point of time, and if you can afford, continue it, which otherwise it should be the policy in our government, it should be in insurance, that we should be given that, but that is not given. Now I cannot put everything on government. Living in India, I won't do that. I would say we should do it as much as we can. Things are changing. What I saw 10 years back, I'm not seeing the same things. Like when I got diagnosed, hardly people knew what is cystic fibrosis. Now at least when I go, senior doctors say, yeah, for cystic fibrosis, I'm aware about it. Or some doctor would say, I know about cystic fibrosis, I'm not wearing, but I will read about it and tell you. Which is again a good thing, people are accepting it. So same with mental health, it should be a compulsion in schools, in colleges, in hospitals, with every illness. It should be given, it should be asked that you need to go for counseling.
That was so interesting, I think, because it was an amalgamation of your personal story to having how people never knew about it, never knew about cystic fibrosis, to now how they're aware of it. And then I loved when you talked about going through something like this, you know that it has a risk to your life, correct? And that puts in so many different thoughts into you, and that could be a root cause of why so many mental health diseases exist. And this is for all the kids and the youth out there that, I think today cancer rates for kids is actually higher than for adults because of the lifestyle disorders that we have. And so that just goes to say that a 15-year-old can go through something that maybe a 40 or 50-year-old can, and you can imagine the difference in thought process. It's incredible to see that there is this scope of thinking for people who undergo this, and there's also the scope of people for not knowing such diseases. So it's wonderful.
I thought that it was very well put, and that, even like I wasn't aware that it was like such a big, issue, and that not a lot of the people in the medical community weren't as aware. Like the junior doctor thinking it was a cyst in the ovary, that's a bit
that was hilarious. I just looked at the doctor. But it has happened so many times. I have been admitted in the hospital and the physiotherapist comes to give me physiotherapy. He has no idea what cystic fibrosis is, but he just knows that I have to give chest physio. Now coming to me, like somebody like me, I wouldn't say I'm arrogant, but I know my work, and if you're doing something wrong with me, I will tell you, dude, this is and they would make me do exercise. I would say, listen, I know this one. What I can't do on my own, I won't. Madam, let us do it. I'm like, you don't even know what is cystic fibrosis. So it is hilarious. But yeah, jokes apart, there are so many conditions like that in ORDI where I'm a part of it. We have so many conditions. There's Asperger's syndrome. There are like lots of things which I hadn't heard about, but they do exist, and they're not like half of our medical fraternity. I'm not saying they did not study, they did, but the most the importance is given to other things. It's like you have a handful of people, यार 5,000 लोग तो हैं, इनमें क्यों करना है तुम्हें? But those 5,000 लोग are also like an important part of our community. So that's how it becomes. So yeah.
Moving on to your company, as a founder of Enzo Wellness, how do you further your work to the community, and since its establishment, what are the ways that it's really helped people, and the different specializations that you feel are really impacting people as well?
When I started working as a wellness coach. I didn't have therapy in my mind. I just wanted to help people in whatever way I can, and I started with people who were going through any kind of surgery, chronic illness, cancer patients, and I used to visit their homes, and I would make sure that I see 2 patients a day. I would go, I'll meet them, and then I realized that they did not need much of a medical assistance in comparison to how much they wanted to talk to someone, be with someone, be vulnerable, because if they tell their family that I'm worried about this illness, the family also gets worried, so they don't want to share their fears, and that's what they used to do with me. That gave me an idea that okay, I should get into counseling more, so I started training myself. And then I realized, because my health also has limitations, so I couldn't see more than 2 people, but I had more people. So I was like, okay, so it was my client's idea for me that you should have a center. It's okay, we will come there, but then you will not be tired, because I work with people from a very authentic approach, that who I am. I share my story with people. I tell them, I give them examples where required. I tell them that I have an illness. Yes, I have a relationship. I have dogs. I tell them so that way they can connect with me. So it was my patients come clients recommendation that I should have a center because it tires me otherwise when I go to see them. And that's how the Enso Wellness started. Enso Wellness became a center where people will come, leave their phones off, first finish their therapy, whatever the therapy is, like be it based on clay, painting, yoga, meditations, counseling, anything. It was everything what people wanted. I did not come up on my own with anything. It was like a group of people got together and they said that we want to meditate every evening here. Would you guide us? I was like, okay. So we started a meditation evening and people will come from old Delhi, old Gurgaon, and they would join. I said, welcome. So that's how it started with 3 people and it became a group of 25 people. Everything was like done by people. I was only there providing the space, providing the people, providing the help. They would think. And it was a big photo of Enso Wellness then was offline. I don't want you to introduce yourself by the work you do. Hi, I am so and so. That's it. No designation, no money, no background, nothing explains you. You are you. And then I saw people started connecting. People started staying after dinner. They would just say that, can we hang out more here? It became a place for people, which was a very safe, non-judgmental place. At the same time, they were growing as a person. That's how it all started. I myself used to do only counseling, but I had collaborations with people who would take painting classes, meditation classes, tarot reading, cooking, what was there? Everything was there. It was like amazing. And then pandemic happened. And we did not know what much to do online. And to be honest, we are still struggling with that because I'm a little old school. I still believe in, physical presence. But we are figuring it out. Counseling has been a hit. One-on-one, family, couples, corporate workshops have been a hit since then. Then we also sometimes do meditation workshops, which we are not charging right now. We just want people to be in a safe space. That's what has been going online. And then another thing was like coming from a psychology background. So when I interned, nobody charged me money. So later on, whenever I would upgrade myself, I would just go to assist some psychiatrist or a psychologist. Again, I had personal relationships with them. It wasn't. It was only before pandemic I wanted to do this one internship with a psychiatrist setup. And I spoke to somebody. I said, can you get me an internship there? Do you know someone there? Well, why do you need to know somebody? It is 9,000 rupees for a month. I was like, would they give me or I give them? It was like, you pay 9,000 and you get the internship. I was like taken aback. I was like, so all these students who do internships, they pay for that? Yeah. And I was like, what is it? So that is where I started psychology internships for students where we will pay a stipend. Because it doesn't matter you are an intern, but you're still doing some of the work. Maybe getting a form filled. But you're still helping me with my work. So I really wanted to contribute there. So we started psychology internships for students. And they found it much more beneficial than others. Because here it was not, I wasn't teaching them theory at all. I was giving them practical experience, how to set up your center, how to actually talk to a client, which they said nobody taught them at any place. They were like, okay, they were given a form, you put it. But I used to correct them how to put your hand when you're talking to a client. Don't move your foot when you're talking to a client. How you should dress. Make the person comfortable. And they were like, "Ma'am, ye sab to koi nahi sikhata hai." I was like, are you sure? Then what do you learn in internships? They're like, the same theory we learn in college. Then why go for an internship? But ma'am, it is just like more of a practical approach for that. But that is not, nobody asked me, give me a definition of schizophrenia. Nobody asked me that. No client will come and tell me what is schizophrenia. They already know what it is. They have been diagnosed with it. I have to help them with a lifestyle. I have to help them with a better choices. So if my words are not correct, if my body language is not comfortable. So that's what we started working on. It really went good. And yeah, that's what we have been doing, giving internships to students, doing a lot of workshops, because I really want to make therapy like an other profession. People think that you are a therapist, you are a psychologist, you are a a counselor, you would know them from their face. No, I don't. I want to tell you that until and unless you don't tell me, I will not get to know what is happening in your life. So yeah, I want to make it sound simple that you have headache, you go to a physician, you have an emotional fracture in your thought. Come on, go to a psychologist, go to a counselor, seek help. So yeah, that has been the aim and goal of Enso Wellness. And so far, by God's grace, people have been kind enough to support. We have been doing amazing corporate workshops, and in the month of May, Mental Health Awareness Month, I did 11 college workshops, which never happened before. 11 colleges invited me. So all my team was telling me, ma'am, you're stretching yourself. I was like, abhi ye college walon ko akal hai, kara rahe ho. Kal nahi karayenge. So let's do it. In June, I'll take all the break I want. So yeah, it is happening. A lot of people are thinking that awareness is not there. But as I said, one step at a time. I have seen a huge change. So let us appreciate that change, while we work on it more and more. But people don't appreciate the change they are seeing. They are only picking on the things they don't see there. So I guess we shouldn't be the ones doing that. At least let's appreciate that it has changed. People are talking, people are accepting. Before 2021, it never happened in the month of mental awareness. 11 colleges invited me. No, there used to be hardly one or two talks. Yeah, it is changing.
It's interesting how the pandemic has actually helped to propagate the sentiments of someone undergoing a sort of a mental disorder or emotionally on someone who's, who needs to contact somebody for emotional instability at certain stages of their life. I think the pandemic has really helped to propagate it. These are true emotions, because I feel like there was a point where everybody sort of felt this at their own level. So given that, there definitely is a prominent stigma around mental health in Indian community. What do you think is the best way to approach for help? And if someone's too afraid to reach out, what are some good tips you can suggest them take care of themselves in self-care activities? I think there's one situation where people are ready to reach out, and then there's this one situation where people are not very comfortable to reach out to a therapist. So what do you think? Is there treatment for both types of people, some self-care activities? How would you approach maybe a client that has the same approach?
First of all, I really want to tell people that it is not only in India. The stigma is not only in India. I have clients from different countries. I remember working with this Italian woman, and she was finding it very difficult with her partner. So I said, how about we go for couple counseling? She goes home, she tells her partner that, my therapist wants to see you. He's like, you are married, you need help. If we need a third person in a relationship, that means our relationship is not working. So why should we go to a therapist? So the stigma is not here. Stigma is everywhere. I have clients from USA telling me the same thing. I have clients from Australia telling me, don't tell anyone I come to you for therapy. Maybe they are not loud as we are. We are maybe loud about it. But maybe, they are more accepting than us. But the problem is everywhere. It's not only here. Then the next thing comes that people think that if you had a challenge and if you visit a professional, it might stay in your CV for the rest of your life. It might be difficult for you to get a job, get married or something like that. So now I want to tell people, I have been somebody who has lived with depression. I have had clinical depression when I got diagnosed with my illness. I took medication for 8 months. And I'm in front of you. I'm sound. I don't have any problem. I'm helping thousands of people. I don't think so that if my IQ will be checked, it will be any lesser. I have become stronger. In fact, I've grown as a person because now my mental health is stable. So no, your medication does not do that. There are only few conditions. If it is the clinical condition, for example, schizophrenia, वैसा कुछ है, then it becomes difficult for few maybe areas of work to hire you. I remember when I did my 12th grade, I wrote my exam for medical. I couldn't clear it for MBBS, but I did clear for BDS, but it was AFMC, Air Force Medical. And they told me very clearly that you wear your eyeglasses, and those days, eye power was an issue. So simple. Now, would I say that my eye power, nobody should know that I have an eye power? No, it's okay. It doesn't fit in that area. So maybe if you are not chosen because of your mental health condition for something, they would have specifications about it. Otherwise, there's no such problem. I have CEOs as clients. I have senior managers as clients. I have actors as clients. I have so many people as clients. Nobody fired them from their job if they took the medication. No, the medication did not make them any less of a performer. No, they're absolutely okay. So another thing is like, yes, people who would want to reach out, but they don't know how to reach out. One thing is very important, that there are mental health lines everywhere. Some people say that, oh, there are hardly any therapists available and it is so expensive, it is not affordable. Go to a government center and you will be surprised there are counselors there. Maybe they're not trained that much how I would be, because I studied from different parts of the world and all that. They might not be so exposed, but they know the basics. They can help you with the basics for sure. Every government setup, and it is like 135 rupees a session they charge you for. Yeah, it is just about, are you looking for it? Now, second is that people who do want to get help, but there's a stigma attached to it, so they don't want to. Still, you can reach anonymously. There are audio calls. You can reach out to a therapist. You just have to Google. You will find all the numbers there and you can reach out. Now, third thing, is it safe to talk to a therapist? What if they talk about me? Now, I would say every therapist makes you sign a clause, because sometimes when you make a client who is going through something, anxiety or something, if you ask them to sign a clause, they take a back step. They're like, okay, it's something big. So we don't make everybody sign a clause. But when we become a therapist, it's like how doctors take an oath, how a politician takes an oath. We also take an oath that it is confidential. We are not going to talk about it to anyone. For example, even if I do a session with you and then my family would ask me, well, I might say what was the condition. I would never give the name and detail and who was the person. I have in fact clients from my own relationships. But nobody knows they are my relatives. Nobody knows my relatives don't know that they are consulting me or they have any issue, because we don't talk about it. So confidentiality is very, very important there. So nobody is going to talk about your illness or about your challenge, what you are facing, to anyone. So it's completely confidential. You can reach out to any therapist. And right now, because of the pandemic, as you said, yes, it helps us. It made the awareness tenfolded more. Tenfolded. It would have never ever happened in next maybe 10 or 20 years, what in these 2 years have happened. So there are lots of people out there. Ask for the credentials. I'm not saying just go to anyone. Ask for credentials. Check them out online. Ask them if you have seen similar cases. Be transparent about it. But reach out. They are not going to tell your family, or they are not going to tell anyone. For example, for legal reasons, I have made a thing that I see only clients above 20 without their family's permission. And with their family's permission, I have clients from 16 years of age. So it is all right. They are not going to tell your family what is happening. Ask the therapist policies. What are your policies? How do you work? But if you think there aren't people, there are people. Second, if you feel that you have to go and take medication, don't shy away from it. It's like when you have headache, you do take a paracetamol. So if you're not sleeping well, maybe doctor will give you some medicine for sleeping. It is not addictive. If you take it according to the doctor's prescription, it is never addictive. It becomes addictive when you today take it, tomorrow you don't take it. Today you take it, tomorrow you're like, no, I will get addicted. And then you realize, oh my God, I can't sleep without it. So as per the doctor's prescription, they have studied for 7 to 9 years. So give them some credit, listen to them. If they are asking you to take a medication in certain form, take it that way. Because that can help both the kind of clients who would want to reach and who cannot reach. Apart from that, there are lives. For example, I know for myself, I do at least 6 to 7 lives in a month, where I am all talking about self-care tips, what you can do with this, you can do with that. Rather than following people who make you feel bad, how about you follow people who will help you grow? Have that mental filter. Whom are you following on social media? I follow people who help me grow. Are you following people who help you grow? So maybe you can get that.
Yeah, that was very well put. This is our last question. With regard to your experience, what are some triggers and causes of common mental health issues? And can one detect if they're developing or undergoing an issue by themselves so that they can, reach out to a therapist or someone?
The most trending thing which is happening is anxiety. People think overthinking, OCD, all these things, they are form of anxiety, coping mechanisms of anxiety. Now, anxiety is a fight and flight mechanism, which is very important for our survival. So if this anxiety is kicking in these times more, it is obvious we are trying to survive. It will be. Now, based on your experience and the resources you have, your mind will give you the anxiety. If I don't have resources, for example, if I go out and I have not worn the mask properly, or I happen to touch something, or I shook my hand with somebody by mistake because I was not mindful. Now, when I come home, I'm going to be worried. What if I get corona? What if I get corona? What if I... Because somewhere my mind knows that I did the compromise. I was not wearing the mask properly. I shook my hand. I shouldn't have, because these are the guidelines which have been given to us. Now, so that is what. If I have the resources, if I take all the precautions, then my mind will not be, confused. So chances of anxiety are less. The same happens if I'm not prepared for my exam. My mind will keep telling me, what if you fail? What if you fail? What if you fail? Now, the thing is first about anxiety is, first it becomes in your mental body. It can be overthinking. It can be, escape mechanism, sleeping more, something like that. But then it becomes physical. Then it becomes a panic attack. If you're not taking care of it on a mental level, then it becomes a panic attack, trembling, shivering, stomach churning, loose motions, acidity, pimples on your face, not sleeping well, not eating well, not feeling like talking to people, always anxious about things. So you need to understand that anxiety is normal. We all get it. If I'm not anxious, I will not prepare for my exam. If I'm not anxious, I will not reach to the airport 10 minutes early. But when this anxiety is not resolved, for example, I know that I have to reach to the airport 10 minutes early, but I still don't do that. I take that chance, kya ho jayega? And then I get anxious. What if I miss my flight? I miss my flight. And then it becomes physical. I start getting loose motions. I start puking, or I start falling sick. So anxiety is good. It is good for a survival mechanism. But if you're not resolving the issues in your life, not preparing yourself in the beforehand. Now, in certain situations, you cannot prepare yourself beforehand, corona, for example. But immunity is in our hand. If we work out on ourselves, I can have good immunity. If I work out, if I drink water, sleep well, have a good lifestyle, eat well, I will have good immunity. Now, getting the infection might not be in my hand, but how to recover faster can be in my hand, or how to fight with it would be in my hand. So that is where anxiety is going up, because we are not being mindful, we are not taking care of ourselves, we don't have a healthy lifestyle, and knowing that, then we start getting anxious about it. Same thing, people who are right now very, very anxious about their jobs are the people who either have not been working really well, giving their best, because they are very anxious that you can hide it from the world, you can hide it from a friend, but you know deep down how much you have been doing. I have this client, and she said that, I was nominated for a promotion. I was like, wow, this is such a good thing. Like, no, I haven't been doing enough. I don't know on what basis are they appointing me. I was like, maybe you have been doing more than other guys. Like, yeah, and now I'm thinking, what would they be doing? Because I was hardly doing anything. So you can hide it from the world, but you can't hide it from yourself. Now, these people who have not been working well in the past, they are like, oh my God, if the company is firing first, I am going to be the one who is going to get fired. Because I have been performing less, I have not been given my best, they are the first. Second are like who have not upgraded and upskilled themselves, who have been using the same technique. I am not a very tech-friendly person, but I still learn from a younger friend. Because if I wasn't active on Instagram until 2 years back, but now I'm quite active on Instagram because I know that is the new thing, new way of communication with people. If I still keep communicating on Facebook, where I know people are not communicating, then how is it going to help me? So we need to keep updating and upgrading ourselves. That's very important. So if we keep doing that, anxiety is going to be less. And anxiety is something, if you are experiencing a lot of panic attacks and physical symptoms, you should go to a doctor, take medication, then you should go to a therapist, take help. But you should know that it is unhealthy when it hampers your life on daily basis, day-to-day basis. And it is healthy if you get it every now and then. If I have a very big event, I have churning in my stomach. So I tell myself, I know my anxiety is kicking in, but I'm going to be all right. I have done it before. I will do it again. Take a breath, Arouba, do it. But that is good. That is fine. That prepares me. But if that anxiety gives me loose motions at the last minute so much that I miss my event, it is something I should talk to a doctor then, because it made me miss it. What was the most important thing? So then we will have to seek help. So I guess anxiety is the most important thing right now. We should be talking about it. People should be knowing about it.
That's incredible. I think that there was this world that was open to Vivi and I as well, about things that, sometimes we overthink how we're doing, how life is. Sometimes, you're suddenly isolating yourself from people. And I think it's important to spread the message about how important it is to not overthink how you're feeling and maybe just go there and be happy. And then sometimes when things are really happening, at what stage should you be concerned? I think it's a good break point for our audience that, if you're going through this, it's good. But if you're normal, if small things are happening, don't worry too much. Just continue. So
I just want to tell, it is absolutely all right not to feel okay. We are human beings. We have been blessed with emotions like guilt, anger, sadness, shame, happiness. It's all right if you're not feeling okay, but it is not okay when you are in that state for a long time. More than a week, if you're continuously in that state, get help. It is something is not right there. Something is, there. You need to seek help. But if it is happening, for example, I failed my exam, it is obviously I need to be upset about it. I need to be disappointed in myself, because if I'm not that, I'm not going to give my best. I broke up. It is all right if I feel the pain for a month. It's okay because I was in love with someone. A very important relationship broke. It's okay. I don't want to talk to people right now. I'm not in that state. But if that is stopping you from living your life, not eating, not doing things, then that is something you should be seeking help for.
Absolutely. Overall, and thank you so much for your time, firstly. And this has been incredibly insightful. We hope that our audience and somehow your audience too gain a larger perspective and knowledge, and gain knowledge from this interview. To all of our audience, if you want to see more of Ms. Kabir's content, we will link below her Instagram and website. And I think it's the best way. We found you, ma'am, through that. So we can actually credit the fact that Instagram has this big weightage of how we can reach out to you. And Vivi and I made sure that we watched a few of your reels and a few of your videos and read a couple of your posts, and we realized the magnitude that it had on us as individuals. So we can only say that if you're going through a slight bit of a tough time, go ahead, have a look at the videos, watch them, and they will definitely change.
Yeah. And I feel like there's just something that everyone should know, you're not alone if you're having a tough time, especially given the current circumstances. You're not alone. If whatever you're feeling is valid, and if you need to reach out for someone, reach out for someone. You can even reach out to Ms. Kabir, Enzo Wellness and everything. Thank you so much for this. It was so great having you.
Thank you. And you guys are doing an incredible job. Keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, we should be grateful to you as you are making it reach to thousands of people out there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Wonderful having you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
So that was our interview for the day. And Shreya and I are going to be having a 30-second mental health checkup after each episode. So leave down below if you feel comfortable, or just think about it. How are you feeling today? Have you eaten or had enough water today?
Are you taking time for self-care activities and time for recharging yourself? And we hope you are. And please comment down below what you're going through, and if there's any way that we can help in future episodes and we can discuss these issues. Yeah. Thank you all so much.
We hope you enjoyed this. Ms. Kabir, it was really wonderful having her. We'll link below her social so that you guys can reach out to her as well. Let us know if you enjoyed this and would like more content like this, and what you would like to see for future posts. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.